Hello and welcome to Art with Mrs. Beaufeaux. Today in third grade we're working on the art concept of silhouette and we're going to be making our very own nativity scene. I want you to notice something about this image. What do you see in the main subject of the image? I see a nice background of watercolor that's using a wet on wet technique, but what do you see in the main image? Do you see lots of little details or maybe some great big shapes? Those great big shapes are called silhouettes. That's what we're working on today. Let's get started. Let's discuss that term silhouette a bit further. It's officially defined as a two-dimensional representation of an outline of an object, often filled in with black. So by the four images on the slide, I hope that you're seeing that each one of those is representative of a specific object. If we look at the one on the bottom left, I hope you see a cat, because that is a silhouette of a cat. Then we have two heads in the middle, one with short hair and one with long hair. And then to the upper right, there is a rose. This one isn't technically a full silhouette because you can see the details on the inside, but it still gives the idea of silhouette. So it's a representation of an object that's often filled in with black. Let's look at a few more examples. So again, to be a silhouette, we don't want a lot of details on the inside. We only want to see the outline filled in with black, like this airplane, mosquito, bird, and human hand. To get started with our project, we're going to do as we always do in landscape orientation this time. Start with your name, date, and class on the back of your image. The main subject of our image today is going to be the Holy Nativity. We know this from the book of Luke, is the story of Jesus being born. Let me remind you what happened. So there was a census being taken when Caesar Augustus was in charge, right? And Quirinius was the governor of Syria. So Joseph went up from Nazareth through Galilee to Judea to the city of Bethlehem because he was of the house and line of David. So he went there with Mary, who was betrothed to him. They weren't yet married and she was expecting a child. The time came for the baby to be born, and he was born in a stable because there wasn't any room for them in the inn. They placed him in a manger and wrapped him in swaddling clothes. And the angels came to the shepherds in the fields and said, "Behold, I have great news for you. A king has been born." And then there were three wise men who came from the east, and they are called the three kings, and they came to celebrate and pay homage to the new baby king. So I'm going to have some of these characters represented in my artwork today, which is, again, telling the story of Jesus's birth. Now that I have my main image outlined in pencil, I'm going to go over with a new, huge, awesome chisel tip permanent marker. This is from Bic. It's the Intensity Metal Pro Ultra Resistant Permanent Marker. I want you to notice that I'm coloring in all these shapes. I didn't add a lot of details. Did you see any lips or eyeballs on Mary, Joseph, a shepherd, or the wise men? I hope you didn't, because I didn't put those in there. The one part of my image that doesn't really qualify as a silhouette is going to be my star. As I flipped it over, I noticed, my name got covered up by that, so I'm going to rewrite it. Now we're going to add the background. To do the background to the silhouette image, we're going to be using watercolor paints today. I need to remember to prep my paints. This is where I take little drops of water, put them in each palette. So this is me deciding which colors I want to use for my background. Now I'm going to quickly bring my paint over to the paper, and I'm going to blend in those colors. You can see every once in a while I'm cleaning off my paintbrush, but I really like how those colors are blending into one another because I'm using wet paint on top of wet paint. As I'm going around my star, I was trying to be careful because I wanted the star itself to be yellow. I didn't want it to bleed into that. Remember, that's the one part of the image that doesn't qualify as a silhouette. This has been Art with Mrs. Beaufeaux. Thanks so much for watching, and I hope to see you soon.